How's it, guys? This is Dayvy FP and welcome back to the Deadline with Dayvy livestream. This livestream was actually on time. Please applaud in the chat because we usually are a little bit late, but this livestream is going to revolve around blank Game Week 30, as well as kind of any questions about the upcoming Game Week schedule, which we will get more clarity after the FA Cup games conclude this weekend. In terms of questions about the free hit, I'll be asking or maybe creating a free hit draft a little bit later on if there's like a need to create it, but I did create a video this week and I don't think my free hit team has drifted too much away from that. In terms of the plans for this upcoming game week, we did have 11 players at the start of game week 29, but unfortunately, Luca Digne ended up getting injured. So now we currently only have 10 starters, and now Rafinha could be out after testing positive. In terms of the news about Rafinha, the initial update is that we have two sides of the story. We have the forums and we have the Twitter accounts. The forums are telling us that he's out after testing positive, and the Twitter accounts are telling us that he's going to be playing. Hopefully we get some more news and clarity on that situation. If he is going to be out after testing positive, I will probably be taking him out anyways, just because I wanted kind of an excuse to bring in a Harvey Barnes or Madison. But we will hopefully see through the kind of minutes that go ahead, maybe closer to the deadline, we get some more concrete news. Similar situation to Virgil van Dijk. I thought we would get more news about who's traveled on the bus, who's arrived at the stadium, who's out on the pitch, but it seems like no one wants to give us news, and hopefully the Liverpool situation with Van Dijk is different to the one with Rafinha. But currently, as I said, we do have him in the squad, and if he's going to be playing, I'll just keep him. I do have double defense, so I either hope they keep a clean sheet or Rafinha absolutely bangs it. But if he is going to be out, then I would just be going for Harvey Barnes. In terms of the question, I'm going to go from the top of the chat because it came to my attention that some people actually send messages before I go live. So we have a question here about the injury to Trent Alexander-Arnold and the impact on my future FPL strategy in terms of that injury. So I would say just leave Trent. If you guys have bought him a couple of game weeks ago, then that's fine. But there's loads of money in Trent, and for all we know, he could be back for Watford. So I would just chillax on that one a little bit. He doesn't have a fixture in blank game week 30 anyways. I understand that he could be kind of a cash cow to get some value in, but I wouldn't touch Trent. I'll just keep him on my bench this week. And in terms of my future FPL plans, we can assess that after the international break. If he's going to miss Watford, then maybe, but otherwise I might just keep him for the foreseeable future. Andreas just saying hi, how's it going? Vincent asking any electricity outages, luckily none this week. G-Ball saying let's get a birthday green arrow. I guess it technically is still my birthday week, so let's hope that this week can be a green arrow. And Harry just also saying happy late birthday. Harry, at least you wished me. There we go. I wish we could be friends. There's nothing. We are friends. If you're in my chat, you're my buddy. Don't worry about that one. And as Rebuild FC is saying, what's the deal with Rafinha? Currently, we don't have any concrete news. The forums are telling us that he's out, and the Twitter accounts are telling us that he's playing. So hopefully we get some more news from a reliable source. G-Ball saying, Digne has been such a frustration to own these past is 100%. If we went for cash, I would have been fine. But Digne just gets worse and worse, and it's super annoying that happened. Olaf saying Digne out for Amarty. Maybe if Amarty was nailed for the future, but with Fofana playing in the Conference League, I think that Amarty or Soyonku are going to drop out. And if it is Amarty, then that's a bit rough. So that was my question. Kash saying happy birthday week. Everyone's now saying happy birthday. Thank you, guys. I do appreciate it. Adams and Son out for Kane and Kulusevski. Murray, I know I took Adams out last week, but I'm not too keen on actually taking him out for the future. And the main reason for that is that Southampton have a potential of a double coming up. And that's why I might want to just keep Adams for the foreseeable future. It comes down to if you want to bring Kane in and captain him. For me, I don't really want to. I'm just going to stick with Son. It might be a little bit of kind of stubbornness, to be honest, but I just don't see the use of taking a hit to bring in options that, could actually perform at a similar level. So I can understand with Adams because you're kind of adding another option. So you can kind of see it as a -4 in that point of view. But Murray, what I would do is assess the situation for the upcoming game weeks. And if you do want to captain Kane in game week 31, 32, 33, then you can just bring him in. Most points from Doherty, Pereira, and Regulon. I don't know if you're asking, are you asking about a free hit defense, or you're just asking about which of those three I think will score the most? Out of those three, I think I would take a punt on Doherty. I think West Ham are going to be pretty tired after that European game they had against Sevilla. So I think Doherty or Regulon for me. And I think I just slightly edge Doherty from an attacking point of view. But both of those are fine. What do you think about Gellert? Saves money for the future. So Darth, I wouldn't get Gellert just because apparently he could be out with a knock. I don't think that's too sensible of a move, so I would suggest going away from that. But if we do get news that he starts, 100%. I just don't think I can rely on him being a starter this week. That's what I'll say. I'm on a wild card this week. Please advise. I would almost suggest that you don't focus on blank game week 30. What you can do is get Spurs and Arsenal assets, but I would almost say focus on the doubles coming up. It's a super tough game week to kind of wild card. So yeah, I can just basically say don't focus on blank game week, just focus on the doubles because you're going to get the same amount of fixtures in the long run. And I think a double game week, there's some nice options coming from them. So maybe go for some Leicester assets, maybe bring in a Harvey Barnes and a Maddison, double up, and just hope that they both play game week 33. Trent and Willock to Fofana and Barnes. So Cole, I don't like taking out Trent. Look, what you guys can do is if you've bought Trent recently, I had someone in real life that I gave advice to. He bought Trent like 4 game weeks ago. So I said that's fine to do. But for my own personal team, I'm going to lose about 0.5 in value. So just check what value you're losing because I don't know if that's worth it. But if you bought Trent recently, then those moves look perfectly fine, Cole. Especially if you're going to get a nice starting 11 or something. Mark saying, happy birthday, big 50 next Saturday for me. Mark, also a March baby. Good luck for the big 50. I'm nearly approaching it, almost halfway. G-Bell saying, any detailed thoughts on Barnes over Maddison? Plenty of elaborate Twitter threads saying Maddison better after analysis. So G-Bell, the thread I looked at was the Leicester source. I think it's Sam Martin. He's like kind of an ITK. So Sam Martin, Samuel Martin FPL without the A for Samuel. And he did a thread and he kind of said that he prefers Barnes because if they do change formation, that Barnes might be more nailed. I just think Barnes for the long term, Maddison has had some injury concerns and that always does put me off. But to be honest, it's a 50-50 between those two. I think Maddison probably might be nailed maybe more for the short term because of the European competitions. But I think Barnes, I would rather have Barnes for the long term. Pradip with Salah and Broya out, Kane and Barnes in. So can you get Salah in next week? That's probably the big thing. Because if Salah's going to miss Watford, then you're perfectly fine. But if Salah's back for Watford, he's the best option for captaincy. So, Prahib, just think about that. If you want to captain Kane against Newcastle next week or something like that, then that's fine. But I still think you have to keep Salah. On a free, at any differentials you consider, Tyler Footy guy, I would say go for Iheanacho. Daka apparently is a major doubt, so Iheanacho could be quite good. Rafa and Reza saying Iheanacho's a punt. Exactly. So Rafa's and Reza have answered your questions there. Gunawan saying nearly 2 a.m. right now. It is a Friday, so I mean, you could be at the club and it's 2 a.m. in Malaysia, so maybe you're rocking some deep house or something, but if you're going to be going to bed, is Leicester assets worth considering for a free hit? Yes, I think you should triple up on Leicester. I mentioned this in my free hit video that if you guys are going to free hit this week, the core is already nailed. It's going to be Kane, Son, Doherty or Kulusevski. It's going to be some Arsenal assets. I think the differentials will be your Leicester assets. So I would go with Maddison, Barnes, and then I might potentially go for one of their defenders. Barnes is a differential captain. Fantasy Football Fix has him as the projected number 1 scorer. And if he does start, or if I do bring him in, I would be tempted. But right now I'm scared of Kane, and that's why I'm going Son. But 100% Barnes, I'm tempted by Barnes. I've just got a feeling, you know. So I'm 100% behind that if you want to go for it. What transfers will you make? If Rafinha is going to be out, then I'll go for Barnes. So Dart saying get the booze out. Stop sipping the milk, bro. It's on my birthday was yesterday. It's not today. My birthday's on St. Patrick's Day, so it's kind of a double whammy on this Thursday. So Dart saying at 12:30 a.m. So you might be at the club, Siddharth. You said that you might be a little bit tipsy. So you might be at the club in Indonesia. Marty starts. I do think he'll start. I think they'll give Fofana a rest. And you're saying I'm scared of Kane too. Exactly. I mean, I'm scared of Kane, but I just can't bring myself to taking him out. I won't lie though. The Kane and the Son to Barnes. Son and Raul Jimenez to Kane and Harvey Barnes was tempting, but it blocks me off from some moves next week. Like, I'm potentially looking to bring in Kane after international. I mean, James after international break. So I got Kane on the mind here. It's a long weekend, so Devil 100%. What is Monday? Which holiday is Monday? I always forget. It could be Workers' Day, but I always know SA we have a couple of holidays. Hope it's not a big one, then I'm going to look really bad. Baby saying is Rafinha out. So Baby, Rafinha's not out 100%, but as I've mentioned in the introduction, we have two sides. The forums are telling us that he's out. The Twitter accounts are saying that he's traveled. So I don't know. I'm hoping for some more team news. I'll load up Twitter on the side monitor here to just give you guys some clarification. And if you do hear any news about on Twitter, or sorry for hitting the mic, or from other streamers who get early team news, you can always just drop it in the chat. That'll be appreciated. I just hear that Reece James trained today, even though he's listed as a doubt by Tuchel. But yeah, nothing so far about Rafinha. But yeah, as I said, any sources you guys get, hopefully they are reliable. Please don't post like whack news. Then that could be fine. Flip. So I did see that apparently Rafinha, someone said Rafinha's out and they say they're reliable, but I don't know. As I said, guys, let's just wait for some more confirmed news. I just don't understand how you can't know if a player's out, because if he's tested positive, he won't have travelled and he won't be on the pitch. So if anyone's at the Leeds game, or if you're a Wolves fan, scope to see if you can see Rafinha, and if you can, just drop it in the chat. That'll be appreciated. Otherwise, if we get any more news, we can just post it. Ty the Footy guy saying front three of Iheanacho, Kane, Tony. I would try Iheanacho, Kane, Lacazette. But if you can't afford Lacazette, then Tony's fine. Harry's saying, do you think Digne to Amorti is a good idea? Digne probably doesn't touch our starting 11 again, so it's good for budget. And Amorti plays this week. Yeah, that is true. So my current plan is to take Digne to James next week. But if you don't want to do that, that's 100%. What you could also do is Amorti this week, and then you can bring in James for like a Kilman or a Saiz. What we can do is I can bring up like my team on fport.teams, and we can actually just talk about this. I understand what you're saying about Amorti, because he is cheap and you can just get some value. So let me just bring this up here, guys, and just be a little bit patient with me here. I'm just gonna have to edit the Windows capture. So can you guys see that, Joe? You guys can see that. That should be fine. Just let me know if you guys can't. David's saying like the video. So David's think alike. You can like the video if you want. So let's go next week. Just want to see if you guys can still see this. So Rams they'll probably play. We've got Doherty, Saiz and Kilman have. They have Aston Villa, which isn't the best. But in terms of the rest of the team, it looks pretty fine. I don't know who we would kind of bench here. That's why I think Barnes is quite a nice move, because then you could just bring in Rafinha, and then we have Barnes on the bench. It'll be quite a benching headache next week, depending on what happens. But I might just bench Shadow Jimenez or something like that. Maybe just bench Breuer. But the team looks fine here, so I can understand what you're saying about Luca Digne, because we either play him against Wolves or we play Saiz against Aston Villa. But this is where I was kind of going to do the move for James, which would be fine. So I can understand the thinking behind what you're saying, but I just think, I don't know if I trust the Leicester defense that much. Yeah, if you kind of get what I'm saying on that one, but I do understand what you're saying there. I think it was Harry. Let's see. It looks fine. I'm not showing the bench because the bench is pretty tragic. Let me just see if this looks fine, guys. Yeah, it does look fine. I can understand what you're saying there. You're like saying, yeah, because we don't have a player, so we got a starting 10, so maybe Amorti is fine, but I'd maybe try and get an attacker in rather. Is it worth doing Rudiger to James next week? That's Harry. It's gonna be a move that I would try and replace with captaincy. So if you want to captain James, I would almost use that as an excuse. But Rudiger to James is quite sideways. Would you have Saka and Martinelli on a free hit? I'd probably have one. I don't think I'd have both. I think I would go Son or Kulusevski, I'd go Harvey Barnes, Maddison, and then I would go either Saka or Martinelli. I think I'd probably go Saka though because he got subbed, so he should be fine. Tyler Footigan, do you have an FPL league? I do. It's called Dayvy vs the World. Just go to any of my videos at the start of the season and it should be there. I'm not very good at managing it, so I think that it still is open if you guys do want to join it. But don't join it if you're going to win it. Digne to Marty. So that's a popular move, it seems, today. I think Marty will play, but I guess there could be some rotation there. You never kind of know. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even think that Leicester will keep a clean sheet. And I think it might be a little bit different. Vincent saying I'm eating at Nando's. Rafinha saying at my next table. It looks fine. So Vincent, do you know where Nando's originated from? That's a little bit of a trivia for you. Sadesh got a red arrow after using the triple captain. This is a safe space, Sadesh, because I also got a red arrow. So you can talk all about your red arrow if you want, because we also did not end up doing too well. No, I do not vape. Unfortunately, I don't. Yeah, this sums up the Rafinha situation from Luke, Fantasy Football Scout Luke. He said, look, Rafinha got COVID. It was a false positive. He then traveled, then caught COVID en route. Now we're now waiting to see if he's going to be fine. That's not exactly what his tweet was, but basically that's what the current plan is right now, is that he's apparently fine, but then he's not fine. Vincent saying Nando's is from South Africa. There we go, Vincent. You got some brownie points from me today. Yeah, so Mohab's asking a good question there. Apologies. Someone asked us at the start of the stream. They were asking about how many players I think is fine. So I think 8 players is what I would aim for, but 7 is fine. It's almost one of those weird ones because if I'm saying 7 is fine, then maybe 6 is fine as well. But I would try 7 or 8. And I think taking hits for players that have good fixtures coming up, such as Spurs or Arsenal, that's perfectly fine. Arsenal players priority because they potentially have a nice double coming up. But, I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, a hit is a -2 this week if you don't have a starting 11. Yeah, so Nando's is Portuguese, but it's from South Africa. And I think some people say that it's not even Portuguese. I don't know. I read something about that. But yeah. Lacazette or Tony, would you start Ricardo Pereira? In your back three, I'd probably try and fit in a Leicester asset, but just more from a differential point of view. I would prefer Lacazette to Tony. But if you can't afford Lacazette, then Tony is perfectly fine. What about Kane, Zilla? He best option this week for captaincy, but I just can't bring myself to bring him in for a -4. But I do understand if you guys want to do it. Do you think Broya and Digne out for Tony and Chalobah for a full starting 11 is worth it? Chalobah from Watford or from Chelsea? Yeah, I don't know about Chalobah. If it's the one from Chelsea, I don't know. That just doesn't scream good to me. Yeah, you probably talk about the Chelsea asset, but what you're probably saying is like you want to take Tony in and you want to keep Chalobah. So that is fine, but it's just a bit weird because you bring in a player that doesn't have a fixture. But then you said you have his full starting 11. I would try and keep Broya though because of the doubles coming up. My plan for this week, if Rafinha's out, I'll take him out for Barnes. But other than that, I'm probably going to bank. Bench Saw or Ramsdale, please. I would play Saw. Especially if Rafinha's out. If Rafinha's out, I think the clean sheet for Wolves should be pretty strong. I'm touching wood. I hope Kilman and Saiz both start, because otherwise I'm going to regret saying that. But I do think it takes their attacking threat significantly out. So I think someone said Coutinho to Barnes. Oh, Coutinho to Barnes, 1 free transfer. I wouldn't do that, Christian. I'll just keep Coutinho. Adam, how long is Trent out for? Weeks. Could be 2 weeks, could be 3, could be 10. I would wait and see. I have a sneaky suspicion that it might be an international break injury. Maddison or Tielemans? I would go Maddison. But Barnes, Maddison, Tielemans, it's all close between them. I mean, none of them have been super sensational this season. So I think either 3 of them is fine. and Iheanacho Lacazette on your Friet, I would be tempted by Iheanacho, to be honest. Lacazette might be a bit more safe, but I think Iheanacho is a bit more of a differential. On a Friet, I would go differential. Vincent saying, I only have 9 players, but have covered all the big players. Should I still roll the Friet? Yeah, I think so, unless you want to bring in a nice asset. If your other midfielders don't have great fixtures or don't have a double coming up, then you can always just bring in a Barnes, make that transfer this week. But if you want some more news, that's perfectly fine. Best Leicester defender. I like the fullbacks, but I just worry about them. I think Thomas apparently is most nailed. That's what I would kind of do. But then none of the others are too nailed. So you might just go Marty. If you're on a Friet, then go Thomas. But if you're on like free transfers, then maybe go Marty, because as Harry said, he's cheap, you know. Did just saying, Dayvy, you bottle. What did I bottle? Who would you bench on your Friet draft? Exactly who I benched on my Friet draft. So just like go along the video at the start. I say these 4 players are on my bench, and then like I go defense, midfield, forwards. That's the exact draft I would probably still go for. Do you think Maddison will start, says Kai Havertz? I think he will. I think considering he was rested in the Europa or Conference League game, I think he will play. Barnes or Kulusevski? Right now, Christian, you have to go with Barnes because of the double. Whereas Spurs won't get a double. That's what I would go for. Sonny's saying you have connection issues. Do I? It says I haven't dropped any frames, but maybe. Just let me know if I'm buggy or something like that. I don't think I look too buggy though. Are you planning to play Fred in Game Week 33? And kids, I'm currently giving myself time. I'm waiting till the FA Cup games are basically done, because if City blank, or if City only have a single, Liverpool only have a single, and Chelsea only have a single, then I'm perfectly fine with that. But if they start having doubles, then I might free it. But it all depends on the FA Cup games. But right now, I'm currently thinking about Game Week 36, just because you've seen what happens at double game week. If you can get the best starting 11 as possible, it leads to some points. Iheanacho, Tony, Aaron, I'd go Iheanacho. On a Friet, Iheanacho would probably be one of my picks, to be honest. So that might change my current draft. I'd probably drop the defender and I'd pick up the attacker. So I would take out Pereira, I think, out of my draft, and I don't know if I'd drop Lacazette or Jorge Jimenez. I think maybe drop Lacazette. Harry's saying, would you bring in another Wolves defender? I don't think I'd be bringing a Wolves defender in just because of the potential blank in 33. I think I'd play it safe and just avoid. Because the way you got to see it is that if they're blank in 33, you're getting the same amount of fixtures from your player, because they'll play in blank game week 30, but then they blank in 33. Whereas your player now will probably blank in 30, but play in 33. Or the opposite way around. I think I confused myself there. But you know what I'm saying? They have one game each in those blanks. How do you have so many players? I wildcarded, which might not have been the best strat, to be honest. Yeah, I'd have to do an analysis on that, but because of the wildcard, I have a lot of players. So don't be worried if you guys don't have a lot of players and you haven't wildcarded. Drop Lacazette and Digne, bring in Tierney and Barnes. Lacazette and Digne, bring in Tierney and Barnes. Homie, what are you saying there? Because Lacazette and Barnes are different positions. I don't know. Do you think Pereira plays versus Brentford? I've seen some drafts or some predicted lineups with Pereira and some with James Justin. So I don't know. I'm not the best expert on what you call it. Leicester lineups. Finish the season on top and go fetch a bottle of wood and Kai in 4 ways. Thanks. No worries. If we have a good season, 100% as you said, finish the season in top 5k, maybe we can have some Zamalek. Tony in for Adams out. What you say? Adams potentially has a double, so I would probably just stick. Big rumors on Twitter at the moment. Ram out this week. Check Twitter. I've targeted you. If Ramsdale's out, that's going to be bleak. Okay, so the thing about Ramsdale, if he didn't train with a knock, then he could still play, though. Okay, but apparently you can see him in the training photo. Yeah, but like, look, I can't really worry about Ramsdale. So, I mean, if he's out, he's out. But hopefully he's not. Let's just say that. That's going to be bleak, though, if he is. My players are just dropping like flies. Do we have any news about Rafinha? No, it doesn't look like we've had any other sources. Yeah, so basically what it said was that Ramsdale didn't train, but then some people said that they saw him in the training photos. And I mean, he could still play even if he didn't train. We saw that with Van Dijk. And the goalkeeper position, I don't know exactly how much. Considering Rafinha's a Leicester midfielder regardless of Rafinha having COVID, says Harry. That could be, but like, I mean, I think it's, for me, it doesn't make sense to use a free transfer if Rafinha's going to play. But if he doesn't play, then 100%. Thanks, Dwayne. Good luck to you too, bro. Everybody's switching Son to Kane. It usually ends in reverse points. Maybe Son will be the differential captain this week. Son will 100% be a differential captain just because most people are going with Kane. If he outperforms Kane, I'll be super happy. I'll be ecstatic. I mean, you could also go for Kulusevski. Kulusevski's form has been better than Kane's, but I just think, I mean, Son hasn't been, maybe he's a bit more of a better captaincy option, I guess. Any plans for this week? So the plan this week is to take Rafinha out for Barnes if he's out, but otherwise we're just going to stick with what we have. Just go in and hold thumbs that everyone plays. Except for Digne, he's out injured. Barnes captain if you don't have Kane. If you don't have Son or Kane, then I would consider Kulusevski. If you don't have either three of those, I would go with Barnes. Barnes is Maverick. I'm scared of Kane, and therefore I'm going with Son, but also Son could potentially do something. That's why I'm kind of going for Son. But if I did have Barnes, I would be tempted by the captaincy on him. Dexter saying I have 9 players. Is it worth taking -4 for my 4? Is it better to use? Dexter, as long as you have the main options. If you have Spurs assets, Arsenal assets, maybe some Wolves coverage, then that's perfectly fine. I would almost consider just kind of keeping, if you have Kane and you can captain him, then you can almost have as few players as possible because you have the best option this week. Barnes or Coutinho. Barnes because of the double Karabo. Jimenez captain. I don't trust Wolves and Raul Jimenez as much to captain him, Igor. Best replacements for Digne this week, if you're looking at options, I think Wolves' assets are probably not as high as I would have placed them because of the blank potentially in game week 33. I would say Spurs assets are fine. Leicester assets, that's just too hard to call. I think what you can do is bring in a Marty and then just, I mean, you have some value there to spare. That could be a move that you do look at. Thanks, Optus Prime. I appreciate it. Thanks for keeping updated. Son is too tired in recent games. High chance of getting rested or subbed off early. I'd captain someone else. Even Kulu is safe. I think Son will play though. I know he's been subbed quite early, but I don't think they won't play him because he's looked tired. I just hope. That's why I'm fine with going with him. But I do understand what you're saying about the potential risk of minutes being reduced. Do you still trust Arsenal's defense for the upcoming weeks? Sonia, I do. I think that Arsenal's defense from a stats point of view has looked fine. Obviously against like a Liverpool, they didn't look that strong, but that is Liverpool. And with doubles coming up, I trust Ramsdale to maybe get me some save points. Who would you play for Wolves defenders this week? Will Bolly play? So Hun, I've seen predicted lineups with both. The general consensus is that if Bolly does play, it'll be Kilman. I don't know. I've seen predicted lineups with Sayis and Kilman both starting, so I hope it's the latter. But it could be either rotation. Who kind of knows, unfortunately. Igor saying, no Kane, no Son, no Kula for me. I'm scared. Look, I mean, it is against West Ham. It's a London derby. West Ham don't concede a lot. So, I mean, it is what it is. Alan saying, rumours, Ramsdale's injured. So he has a knock and he didn't train, but he could still play. Tierney or Marty. I'd go Tierney, Danny. Best replacement for Willock, 5.8 or under. I don't even know if there's that many options. I would try and stretch to Kula if you can, but 5.8 is a weird price point. Are you going the Kane route, James? I'm not. I'm keeping Son. Could be the death of me, but I mean, it is what it is. A tweet has been deleted. Okay. let's see. Okay, so I just wish we got something concrete. It would make the move so much easier. When do Arsenal play? Do they play tomorrow? Okay, they play tomorrow, so hopefully he's fine. I guess that is a bit of a worry if he didn't train today. Yeah, so we've got 24 minutes, guys. As always, I do apologize. There's no concrete news, but it's not really my fault on it. But I will update you if we get anything concrete. Otherwise, just hit me with the questions until we get there. Hopefully not too many Madison or Barnes in for Rafinha questions. Matty Cash for Digne. That's an interesting option. Brad's Ompet saying CSH 100%. It's always here for the deadline stream. What about captaining Coutinho? I just think there's better options this week. Aston Villa are sometimes a bit up and down. Only 7 players. 7 players without transfers, because then you can get to 8 with a free. But 7 players is fine for me. I think it's probably the minimum I would kind of run with. As long as you have like a Kane, some coverage in midfield, and fine defense, 7 could be fine. I can't see your subs. That's intentional. I've got Broya, I've got Trent, and I've got Salah, and then Foster. None of them have fixtures, so you don't have to see my bench this week. James, what's the strategy? If we get concrete news that Rafinha's out, I'll bring in Barnes, but otherwise you're probably going to be fine. Jojo's Revenge saying he's travelled. Yeah, he has, he hasn't. I mean, the sources aren't very concrete, unfortunately. Not a game week 30 question, but is Cuco Hernandez in your watch list? Depash, I don't think so. I've kind of lost it with the Watford attackers. Hi, Dayvy, no Leicester. I'm on a free it. I would go with Leicester, Ben. Look, you can go super safe, but I think if you're going to free it this week, you got to add some differentials. And if you guys remember on my video that I did with the template, I think 0.1 people own Leicester assets. Or in the top 10k, 0.1 players are owned from Leicester. I've targeted you. Okay, good account. Let's see. Okay, so Sam's also saying that he's fine. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, I have double Wolves defense anyways, so I'm almost hoping that Rafinha blanks. But I guess it's a bit of coverage and it's a wasted transfer, I guess, from that point of view. Thanks, Slamming. Like I said, for captain, I don't know if I would go there. I think I would probably just stick with whoever else you have. But I mean, if you want to go differential, 100%. But apparently, like I said, has never scored or assisted against Aston Villa. I've double Madison and Barnes. Ben, that looks perfect then. Rangding saying, I feel like saving my free hit for game week 30 and 35. I feel like saving. I never got all 3 chips right, so I'm scared. I've never got... Oh, so you're saying I would save it. I mean, it depends how many players you have, Rangding. Jeremy saying, Mr. Chucky Mock, help me, brother. Foden to Barnes to Jimenez -4. Yeah, those moves look fine. I don't usually like taking out Foden, but I think you always need an excuse for him. And this week's an excuse because he blanks. And, I mean, Watford or Watford. Mark saying two missing players. Digne and Adams got Son as captain. I'm on top of my local league by 8 points. No pressure. My advice or suggestions, Mark, is to not lose your first place. But, I mean, I wish you luck for this upcoming game week, but I think you should be fine. Ike Nori starting. James, apparently he, in most predicted lineups, I've seen that he has been predicted to start, but I don't know. I don't want to send a tweet. Let me just refresh here. F4 Diamond saying like the stream. You can like the stream if it's helpful, but yeah, nothing as far as I know. I'll check with about 10 minutes to go, guys, to be honest. Sell it to Barnes for Friet. Milos, are you saying Friet like Friet, or are you saying, like, are you on a Friet? It's a little bit confusing. Tar saying, I have 8 players starting. Should I do a -4 to bring in Luke Thomas and Iheanacho for Robbo and Dennis? No, I would probably just stay with what you have. George saying Ramsdale's a doubt. So Ross just quote tweeted the tweet that was rumored. So that's the same tweet we saw. It just said that he didn't train. But I mean, I don't know about the source, how reliable it was. It's a good idea when you make every week. The Twitter space. There was a few of you that joined. I actually enjoyed the Twitter space. It's a bit more of an informal kind of setup. But what I would probably do is when I launch the Discord server, we'll just have like chats like that. But the Twitter space is fine to do. I just don't know like when I would do it, because like I'll release a video and then in my video I have all the thoughts. So then like on a Twitter space I might be repeating them. But the Twitter space can also be used for questions, so that could be fine. David saying you have 9 players. Do Broya for Tony and Digne for Saiz. So Digne I can understand because he's injured, but the thing about it is that Saiz has a blank potentially in game week 33. So for a -4 hit, that might be a little bit sideways. Broya for Tony. Broya has a double coming up, so I'm almost tempted just to say bank then, David. Like, I'm a big advocate this week for just playing it safe and just going with like banking transfers, and because we're going to get so much news after this game week. We're going to know who blanks in game week 33. We're going to know who doubles in 33. We're going to know who doubles in 36 potentially and what fixtures there are. So I think that extra free transfer could be quite nice. And the fixtures this week aren't that great for me. They're quite hard to call. Will saying Rafinha for Barnes. I'm only going to do it if we get concrete news about Rafinha. But we've had sources that say he's fine, sources that say he's not. So I don't know. Should I bench Coutinho or Barnes? I'd bench Coutinho and I'd play Barnes, Aaron. Aston Villa at home, counter-attack. So it might be there, but I don't know. Like, if your gut's telling you captain Coutinho, then go for it. But I just don't know. What's your plan with keeping Digne? I've just joined. I'm keeping him. As I just don't really favor any other defenders this week. Like, I mean, a Leicester defender could be the move to kind of go for, but I just don't know. I just don't think so. So I'm not removing Luca Digne this week. I know Marty was rumored, like kind of suggested earlier on. But I just think I might as well just not do it, because if Leicester lose the clean sheet, it's like 2 points. But I guess the -4 is worth it then, because if he just gets 2 points, then he'll be fine. Sonny, I arrived too late for the space. Would be happy to see. So yeah, so Sonny, the reason, or Sony, sorry, it's not Sonny, it's Sony. The reason I did it was because I had load shedding and I just felt like doing it. But next time I would increase the time before when I announce it. Connor Dog saying at Cheltenham, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. What did you bet on? Have you won anything on the horses? Lacazette or Antonio? I'd go Lacazette, Mohammed. Andy saying, mix that up a bit. What's your score predictions for this week? Good luck. Okay, so let's look at the fixtures here. So, Wolves Leeds tonight. I'm saying 1-0 Wolves. Arsenal or Aston Villa. I'm saying 2-1 Arsenal. Leicester Brentford. I'm saying 2-1 Leicester. And Spurs West Ham. I'm saying 1-0 Spurs. So not too much of a high scoring week, but Jeremy saying Jockey Mark. Is that my new nickname? Iheanacho Ben, yeah. I think I'll take a punt on Iheanacho, especially if you're on a Friet. Friet team. Saar, Doherty, Saiz, Pereira, Barnes, Son, Saka, Martinelli, Kane. Yeah, that looks good. Any changes you would make? Those moves look fine to me. Yeah, I don't think I'd make any other moves there. What I might do is I might say Martinelli for Saka. No, not Saka. Martinelli for Maddison. And then Pereira to Tierney. Just so you have a bit of coverage if Arsenal do keep a clean sheet. So, nothing... And now they're saying Rafinha's wife posted an Instagram picture, but it's not related at all. F4 community sometimes all over the place, eh? So Huang is apparently fine. If you guys do have him, that's what I've just seen. Yeah, I don't see anything, guys, but maybe we get some news about Rafinha, but 50 minutes to go. It's not looking too great, to be honest. Connor's saying I've won £200. Wow, that's quite a decent amount. I hope you had a good birthday. Thank you. I did, Connor. It was a very nice St. Patrick's Day. Hey, Davey, best Leicester defender to go for. So AJ, if it's short term, I'd go Thomas, but if it's long term, I think Amarty's the safest one, just because if he doesn't play, he's cheap. But the Leicester defense is going to be spun up, I think. If they play a back 5 or back 3, then Amarty should be fine. But as soon as Fofana's back, I mean, he's going to come in for either Sionku or Amarty. So it just depends which one of those kind of dips. Best Leicester defender to go for. I already answered, sorry, AJ. Salah to Barnes on a free transfer. James, as long as you can bring Salah back in. But like, if you did watch my video, my team selection, I just don't know who I would take out, because all the rest of my midfielders have good fixtures coming up. Would you recommend a free hit this week? I have the same team as you. Why would you? Don't free hit this week if you have the same team as me. I'd only free hit if you guys have like 5 or 4 players, then maybe. But as I've mentioned, I don't think I would go with the free hit. Andy's saying he would go for Brentford 2-1 and Spurs to draw. Agreed. Yeah, so I think it's a low-scoring week, and I mean, Brentford could do it, but I just think that Leicester might be too strong for them. Sadesh, Kulu's the better captaincy option in terms of stats. Very small sample size though, but yes, over the past 2 games, I don't think Son has had a shot on target, whereas Kulusevski's been involved a little bit more. How's Iheanacho for the long term? I wouldn't touch Iheanacho for the long term. It's just a free hit move, or if you guys are fine with benching him, because Daka's just a doubt this week, and Vardy's going to come back pretty soon, I think. I have the triple captain, and if Man City, Liverpool not going to play, I think I'm going to use it on Ronaldo at GameWeek33. I mean, if you want to go for him, if you Optimus Prime, do you think Ronaldo's the GOAT? I mean, if you think he's the GOAT, you should go for it. But if you think Messi's the GOAT, then maybe not. Who to bring in for Digne? Would you take a hit to get a full starting 11? It depends on what the -4 is going to be. If it's going to be for a player that has a double in 33, potentially, I think 100%. But there's not many of them. So, well, I don't know. I think you might just bank it. Unless we do get like concrete news that Rafinha will be out. I just don't want any defenders. And that's why I'm not taking Digne out for Amarty. It's because I would rather have Barnes for the long term than a Leicester defender. Rangding with a bang of a question saying, as a Liverpool fan, would you take one UCL winner but City wins the league, or win the league but City wins the UCL? I think I'd take the league, to be honest. There might be some Liverpool fans that agree with me, some that don't, but I think I want Liverpool to win the league in front of fans. And I mean, if that's gonna, if City will win the UCL, that's fine. But yeah, I think the league means more to Liverpool than the Champions League does, because of how many times we've won it. Dave's saying Salah for Barnes. Yeah, that's fine as long as you can bring Salah back in, Dave. Che Adams replacement, 9.5 in the bank. I'd probably just keep Che Adams. When's best to use the final free hit and bench boost? Bench boost, game week 36. Then your free hit will be 37 or 33. Optimus Prime saying Sol, Wolves and Tottenham assets. Yeah, you can do that because of the blank, but we'll know after this week. And he's saying, off-topic question, Hamilton or Verstappen? It's only one right answer, by the way. I almost like the fact that Hamilton's so disliked. But I do also have like Dutch ancestry, so it's a tough one. I'd probably edge Hamilton, to be honest. All I'll say is that the last race of the Formula 1 last season was nonsense. And that's not even me as like a Hamilton fan or Verstappen hate or something. It's just like, from a neutral point of view, I do think it was a bit weird. Thanks, James. I appreciate it. So you saw Cody. Thomas, go for Cody. Cody, captain Simon. I don't think I'd do that. Bringing in Kilman to have 11 players worth it, or pick a Marty. Out of those two, a Marty, because Kilman could be benched tonight. Bobby saying, Barnes or Madison? I prefer Barnes to Madison, and will Raul Jimenez start? I do believe he will start. And with 10 minutes left to go, we will do another Twitter sweep. I don't see anything here. If Barnes bangs and Rafinha doesn't do anything, that's going to be rough. I can't see anything concrete, guys, unfortunately. So I can't see anything concrete from any good sources, but that might change. But with 10 minutes to go, 9 minutes to go, I see nothing. So the chances I would do is I would do Barnes in for Rafinha, depending on how the news we get. But right now, I don't think we're going to get anything. Vincent, time is not up. We still do have a couple of minutes. Ramsdale out. If you're on free yet, then yes. But if you're not, I don't think there's any reason to. I don't see any reason to take Ramsdale out this week. Barnes to Ramsey to Barnes from -4. Ramsey might play Holy Butter, so I'll just keep the transfer. Spencer D saying Huang in. If you need a cheap forward, but I don't know. Hansi Krenier or Jonty Rhodes? Probably Jonty Rhodes, Siddharth. Hansi doesn't have the best rep globally. Alex saying happy birthday, boss. Thank you. We can all sing for you in the next load shedding. 100%. What I wanted to do was because my birthday was yesterday, so it was a Thursday. So there was a time that Salah actually played in my birthday, because in SA it was past 12. So if Salah banged, I was going to do a space where we just shout let's go for half an hour. So let's go. But then he ends up blanking, so I couldn't even do that. So all these great ideas that hinge on my FPL assets, they never actually happen. But thanks, Alex, for the happy birthday. Yeah, but it was yesterday, guys. So you can just say belated if you want to. But actually, I don't care, because let's just say it's Thursday. Barnes, Madison, and Ian Acho on a free. Yeah, that's what I would go for Ty. I would drop the defender and I'd bring an attacker in. I have Jimenez. Who would you bring in for Broya? I would probably just keep Broya, Will. Currently have 8 players with Ramsdale, Rafinha, and Doubt, and I'm subbing in a Marty. What a week, says Harry. The thing is, most people will be in the same spot as you, because with me, I'm saying I've got 10 players with Rafinha and Ramsdale, so everyone's going to -2. It just depends on who you kind of own. How about Rudiger to Cody? I like Rudiger for the long term, and that's why I'd probably just keep it. And also, if Leeds score, I never like to take hits for defenders, but if it is a free, then maybe. Best captain if I don't have Spurs attack, Igor, I would say Barnes. That's who I would go for. Havertz to Barnes. Jade, it's the same situation with kind of Rudiger. They have good fixtures coming up, so you probably want to keep Havertz. But, you're getting extra fixture in the long term, because I'm pretty sure Chelsea will beat Middlesbrough. So that move looks fine. Especially if you need the players. Havertz out, Barnes in looks fine. Cody or Reguilon this week, and the long term, I'd probably say Reguilon. But Iheanacho or Tony, I would take the punt on Iheanacho. I'm truly tempted to go all in on Wolves defense versus Leeds tie. The only thing about that is that if they concede tonight, it's not going to be a great weekend. Martinelli or Saka, Ben, I'd go Saka. Andy saying happy birthday, appreciate it, Andy, and thanks for the super chat. King saying I have 7 players including Kane, Son, Martinelli, Luck, and Barnes from -8. Yeah, as long as you have Kane and Son, I would be chilled. Martinelli and Lacazette is fine, and Barnes is also fine because of the doubles coming up. I would go for that. I would actually do that -8 probably, especially if it's going to give you a starting 11. Let's check Twitter with 5 minutes to go. Yeah, so I didn't see anything on Rafinha. So we're just going to keep, I reckon. I just don't understand how we haven't got news. Like, is no one at the stadium watching? Like Rafinha, I think he's quite distinctive. You can get him out. Likely we have a public holiday on Monday to recover from his F4 weekend tie. 100% we do, but I think there's a game on Monday as far as I know. Let's check. Oh no, there's no game, so we can have a Monday off. Vernon saying thanks to you, I went cash instead of Digne. Then I mean, Vernon, that's a great move. I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not, but yeah, Digne was definitely the popular pick. So if you went for cash, then you went a bit not against the herd. So Tips just transferred Rafinha out. I don't think he had anything concrete though. I can check for you though, but I think all that Tips said that he made the transfer. Yeah, so he just took Barnes out, but he didn't say it was because there was like concrete news or anything. But yeah, I'm getting a little bit nervous about Harry Kane now, eh? Not owning Kane. That's going to be a bit rough if he bangs. Why no stream next week, G-Bell? Because it's international break, yeah, but you just answered your own question there. Thank you for the belated birthday wishes, Grootman. How's Rajimenez for the long term? He's fine for the long term, but if they blank in game week 33, you don't want to own him. But yeah, Vernon saying no genuine, no sarcasm. So Vernon, I'm glad. Oh, you're saying there's another F? Okay, but wasn't that the one that wasn't too? Yeah, I don't know. I'm almost feeling like doing the Bonds move for Rafinha now, but I think we just stick, eh? Yeah, as Ty's saying, I think someone checked that. I swear with Rafinha though, that like we had this problem with him in the prior as well. Like he also didn't travel or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. There's just too much speculation. But like as you've said, should we? I don't think we do. I don't think we do Bonds out for Rafinha. And then we just hope that, I don't know. But then it's also weird because then we hope that he doesn't score. I think we just keep it. How much is Bonds though? They're the same price as Rafinha, so you can do it if you want, but yeah, I'm just gonna roll with Rafinha. Yeah, I'm not gonna make a late transfer so you guys can't do it. I'll keep it. I'll keep Rafinha and then yeah. Some people are saying he's out, some people are saying he's in. I mean, it's just there's too much up in the air. No worries, Sir Darth. Hopefully you enjoy your night. Do it, says Gary Cooper. I've got 1 minute left, or like 30 seconds left. But I just feel like now... Okay, now I can't. The time's done. If he's out, he's out. That's what I'll say. But guys, that's going to be the end of the stream. Bit of a chilled one. We didn't really do much, to be honest. Harry's saying Bonds to blank anyway. I mean, I hope that he doesn't if you guys brought him in, because that is a nice move to do. But yeah, we didn't do anything. We've just chilled. We have Son captain. Hopefully Kane doesn't bang, because then we're going to be in quite a lot of trouble. But hopefully our players play and they get us some points. And when I talk to you guys next week after international break, we're on a green arrow. which will be quite nice. Not a lot of action this week, only 4 games, so hopefully they're not too disappointing. But I hope you guys have a safe weekend. As I always say, thanks for joining me on a Friday night. I know you guys are probably quite busy. If you guys are going out after this, have a safe Friday night, otherwise just a safe weekend. And as always, hopefully the green arrows are in our favor. But I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.